Hey, welcome again. We've got another episode of Cardboard Conversations. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And thank you, Bob, for being here with me. And thank you as well, Matt. He's just popping in right now. He woke up. It was a long night. And thank you, everybody that is joining us. We know there's a lot of things you could be doing on Saturday, and we appreciate the heck out of y'all being here with us.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a morning, man. I'll tell you. I should say night.
One of them days
Night for
already,
me,
huh?
morning for everybody else. Actually, it really became afternoon at a certain point. Anyway,
So this week there was an Amazon Days. Did any of you buy any products on Amazon regarding the cardboard world?
No, I did poke around though. I didn't see anything that really jumped out at me. We always preach, make sure if you're buying something that it's a product you actually want to have around. And there was nothing really that spoke to me, nothing that really would, get me enticed to buy into it. I did get some other products off of Amazon, but nothing magic related really. What about you,
oh yeah,
Matt?
mine wasn't magic related.
Mm.
I got one of these double insulated drink holders.
Oh, there you go.
Brewmate, one of those metal double insulated things. I thought they were kind of bullshit, like they wouldn't really work that well. No, they're really good. They work actually extremely well.
Yeah.
That's kind of like I get my daughter and my mom. Oh, what the hell are those coffee
Hey,
mugs?
what
They're
up,
the really expensive ones.
Oh, like Yeti or something?
Yes. That's exactly what they are. Like the Yeti
it's
ones.
Like Yeti, but
they are good.
Slightly
cheaper.
They do work well.
Double-walled, aircraft-grade aluminum, vacuum-sealed. We're living in the freaking space age, boys.
Because I always get annoyed that my drink gets warm because I really like a cold drink, and I was using like the little like little koozies, the little foam things, and they work okay, but like the one that I have isn't tall enough for this can, and it was just time to look around and try to find a better solution. So it was on sale for like $20.
Well, speaking of looking around and trying to find a better solution, that's kind of the main topic for tonight. Is Magic falling apart? What are they doing to figure out their current situation? I mean, me personally, as a Magic player, stuff feels pretty shook up right now.
I wouldn't say it's dead, but I have a feeling that the Q1, Q2, whenever they come out with the Q4 results for this year, I think they might have fallen off. And to some extent, that's going to be the general financial picture out there. While there's like this very small percentage of people that are doing really well right now. And I would say that, we have to be sensitive to that because I think the three of us here are actually on an upward trajectory as far as the financial world is concerned. But a vast majority of people out there, yeah, I'm going this deep on foundations.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's not digging a big hole. He's not building a house.
There is a foundation product I do want. Funny enough, I have it up on the other screen. But there's a product I want, but I don't want to buy any of the SKUs. See if you can figure it out from there. There is something from foundations I absolutely would love to have. But
put your guesses down in the comment section. We want to hear from you, folks.
There you go.
Yeah,
leave a little clue, something to participate in.
I can't say, Bob, that anything really jumped out for me as far as foundations go. I was talking with DJ the other day about people speculating possibly on the collector boxes, and I just don't think that that's where I am anymore with Magic the Gathering. If I'm going to buy,
I don't want to buy any of the SKUs.
Yeah.
So that should kind of help take guesses. I'm not going to say it's the worst product, but I think that it misses the mark. Again, I think you were on DJ's show when I went through this, so we haven't really had this conversation with Matt. I think they missed the mark saying that this is a beginner's product. It's aimed at beginners. It's meant to help them. Let me ask you this: as a beginner, who gives a shit if it's going to be 5 years in legal standard, right? Like standard legal. You think a beginner even knows what that means? No.
Right. And I think that that's a great point. Is realistically, I don't think most beginners are going to get in and start playing in standard rotation. I could see a draft, but that's really its own experience. It's not so much a standardized format. If you're playing the standard format, you're going down and you're going in off play days instead of just draft or pre-release events. So I think realistically, your new to Magic the Gathering player is probably going to open a box with a couple of friends, maybe build a deck on the fly like you're drafting, but then get in a Commander. Realistically, that's the products that they sell on the shelves that they really push.
Well, and being that Commander is such a large portion of the community itself, people don't want to get in and start playing Standard if it's a much smaller portion of the community. They're going to want to play where everybody else is playing, right?
It's
And
ironic
Commander is
that it's
just
called
quite
Standard
shrinking.
because it's not the standard way to play.
And Commander is really a friendlier, even beyond Commander Raids. I think Commander Raids is the friendliest way to get into Magic. But Commander itself is, generally speaking, a friendlier way of getting into Magic. And if it's where everybody is, and I say everybody, it's not everybody. Let's be less parabolic. But if it's where the majority of play is happening, that's where most people are probably going to want to go play. So saying that this is aimed at beginners is a little
disingenuous at best.
Disingenuous? Like, they would have to do a lot more. First off, why would you have more SKUs for this than your regular Standard product? Right? Talk about adding confusion. Just make one single thing. I would not have made the bundle. I would not have made the collector box. I would not have made even the play boosters. I would have strictly made this a product where they had that starter box. You know what I'm talking about? That starter kit.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, the starter collection.
And that's it. That would have been the only way I would have released this to the public, and I would have lowered the price point per pack compared to regular Standard sets. Right? You don't have to have fancy high-dollar versions of things. It's truly a standard starter product.
I figured it out. I know what Bob wants out of this. That's not a viable
Did I
product
give you enough
in the
hints?
standard sense. It's probably got like an item number, like fucking Lego has something for everything. But
it's not a SKU you can scan in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do, Lance. Very good, very good.
The click wheel does look nice.
But I do like those things. I would very much like to have one. But it feels like with the price point, it doesn't, like, when you look at many other things, usually like a starter kit of something is at the lowest price point. It's what somebody who wants to get into a product buys first, is the cheapest product of that kind. And then you start dribbling into it more. You don't go right for the
bundles, just a little bit cheaper, like $5-10 cheaper, which is odd. Like, you wouldn't want to get your new Magic the Gathering player to buy the incorrect product for them. If they want to start a collection, they need to get the collector, not the collector's box even. Like, it is a huge freaking shit show when someone's actually trying to buy product, and the burden on the store as well, with the incredible range of products that they have in this release. For a local store to carry all of this, number one, takes a lot of shelf space. Two, it takes a lot of monetary dedication to buy all this product and then hope that it's going to turn around and sell.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like they missed. Like, I'm not hating on them for this. This isn't like one of those, pitch fire, a pitchfork and torch, burn it to the ground kind of fires.
It feels a lot better than
you kind of missed the mark there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing that's wrong with it is there's just too many SKUs. That's the only thing that's wrong with it in my eyes.
No, I disagree. I think the price point's too high. It shouldn't be at the same price point as all the other products.
I think that right now it's more expensive.
I mean, the jump starts are cheaper. They're $76 for a 24-pack box. Well, I guess depending on where you buy it from.
Yeah, but these are also pre-sale. I expect all of this to just continue filtering down. And over the long run, this is probably going to be a race to the bottom. Not even a race.
The bundle's not cheaper. The collector boxes are not cheaper.
Yeah.
The play boosters are not cheaper.
The play boosters are cheaper. They're $118.
No, they weren't. They were like at $1.
I'm looking at them right now on TCG Player for pre-order price $118.
Okay, that's TCG Player. That's not what they're released at. And really, the vendor for that, if you want to look at vendor prices, is Amazon.
I agree. They definitely should be cheaper, but at the same time, if they're too cheap, then they kind of lose a bit of the, I don't know, the entry product.
You're
Yeah, I
leaving
don't know.
food on the table at that point, if they're, not charging at least something for it, they can't lose out on the product line. And I think this is a great example, harkening back to, our channel's motto: don't buy anything you don't want sitting on your shelf. Don't buy anything you're not going to use to enjoy. And this is an this is an easy skip for me, which is
Oh yeah.
great. I need a little bit more of that in my Magic the Gathering at this point because of the quickness of releases. Honestly, I need something not to pay attention to because there's going to be another set in like what, 3 weeks. I mean, I'm joking, but not so much.
Well, and
Don't
look what's
worry, I'll
coming
be
on the
making
heels.
shorts on all the good cards in there.
Yes, my man. Make sure you guys are liking it and hit that subscribe button. That way you can get notified on Matt's daily shorts. That
Well,
guy's
let's think about this. We brought up the timeline, Magic's timeline for releases. What's going to be on the heels of this? What comes next after this?
That's what I'm just looking up now. Yeah.
I know what it is off the top of my head. They haven't started hyping it at all yet, but the very next release.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you the next set.
Yeah.
If I'm going to buy anything, it'll be Innistrad ahead of Foundations, and then shortly after that.
Is there not a new set before the end of the year?
No, this is it.
Wow. I'm impressed. I expected one at least before then.
I think Innistrad is a far more loved.
Yeah, but it's one of those IPs that, like, if they mess it up, they're gonna like get ridiculed, and it's gonna kind of like Midnight Hunt remastered, or
like
or was
Ravnica?
it double feature.
So,
And I would say
Innistrad
Ravnica,
remastered. Oh my god.
Ravnica remastered kind of eek.
Well, they're doing something real weird for, like, they've got project names. It's after Innistrad remastered
No, they
in
always do
January.
that. They always do
Quarter
that.
one
They
is
just
gonna be
haven't
called
leaked.
Tenants.
No, they always do that. They always give it some sort of code name first. It's just normally by this time, by like September, they've been announcing the next year's releases. So that's a curious question to ask: is why? Why so late are they doing the reveals? It feels like things are very much in flux and they're changing things, right? That they have decided to make alterations, and so they're not releasing their. I think that's an older one. Somebody had the actual names for some of these things already. That I think that might have been a. I can't read that shit at all.
Yeah,
you're
that's
sharing
not
your
really
screen
good.
instead of the window.
But it seems like they've definitely slowed down a touch on some of the hype.
Thanks, Matt.
Oh wow!
I remember all of these. None of these really appealed to me. There's like the Final Fantasy one that's coming up soon, whenever that is.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's the one I think this close. I mean, you're only talking 3 months, right? Instead of putting, because on Amazon, and I'm just using them as the sort of standard price, because when you talk about $118 a box from TCG Player, how many of those are going to get canceled? Like, they'll take your money now, they'll earn the interest rate on it, and then they'll go, sorry, canceled, right?
I don't think
That
many,
happens all the time.
because but this isn't a product that's going to have like super high demand. Like, I don't foresee like people like running out to the stores to buy it.
Okay,
It'll
so
be available for like
using,
what, 5 years? Like, why would they?
I'm using
It's
the
just the
from
collector boxes that are the speculation at this point. Realistically, I don't think any of the other product offerings anybody is financially speculating on or interested in. It's just those freaking collector boxes.
But even collector boxes are cheap. Like, compared to normal collector boxes, they're like $80 cheaper than normal. They're they're down to $218 right now on TCG.
If you're talking about TCG Player, that's not a reliable pricing source. What I would use, so that you have them standard.
Amazon sells more than TCG?
Oh, by far.
I mean, they're much bigger, sure, but like.
Oh no, we looked at the numbers, and if you just look at each SKU and product, it'll tell you how many sell. Pat and I went through this last week. It's like, holy shit, they sell a lot on Amazon, like a lot more, like several factors more. And at least if they're being honest with their sell numbers on Amazon. But the problem with
that's
doing a
good point,
TCG
Lance. They
player
might just be
comparison
waiting
of
for more talk until their big events.
by using TCG player as your pricing guide, you're looking at the lowest possible from a wide variety of vendors and a wide variety of culpability and reliability. Whereas Amazon, generally, if you order it, you're going to get it in general. Additionally, when you're comparing the prices of this set, it's Amazon to Amazon, not some random dude on TCG player to some different random dude. So to give the price line, and this is WotC's front door. This is by Amazon, sold by Amazon, ships from Amazon. That is WotC. And they set the price on these Foundations Play Boosters at $160, currently on sale for $149.99. That is above some of the other standard Play Boosters at the moment. So again, not targeted at the beginner wallet.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference between a beginner and a person that doesn't have money. But yeah, ideally, you'd want the product to be cheaper as an entry point, so that it's less of a hit if you don't like the game.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't say that people don't have money or they're poor Timmies. I was saying that you market it at a lower price to lure them into it, to get them started into the hobby. And that's generally when you look around things, when they have a starter anything, it's not as powerful, it's not as good, it's not as verbose in any product line, but they have an entry level so that you go, okay, let me get into it. And then as you get deeper
a
into
normal person that's starting off in the game isn't going to just go buy an entire box. They're going to buy like the foundation box, which is $30. They're going to buy the bundle, which is for some reason $45,
$50. But
yeah, and I think that that's a great point. Realistically, is I don't think that the starter player is going to go in and spend more than $100 on stuff, and that definitely puts them out as far as their options. But again, if you're spending less than $100 as a new Magic the Gathering player, there's a really good chance you're getting some of these foundational building experiences, which are definitely going to be useful. I mean, if I didn't have boxes and boxes of cards back here, it would definitely be, oh, how do I get all these basic lands? At least with this, it's like the fat packs, the deck builders toolkit back in the day. I think some of these offerings are good, but again, it's just not made for me. And I think that that's, good to be able to recognize.
If you want to think
on
about
Amazon, $132 is crazy.
If you want to think about this in terms of like how other games do it, think about it in video games. You have the free to play up to level 20. You have the pre-release versions. Let's get people just interested in it that are cheaper than the retail versions. Like that's just how marketing generally gets newer people involved in something. Let you tiptoe into it before you dive in on the deep end. And it feels like
whereas Yu-Gi-Oh decided to go with that monthly fee thing. They installed this new mechanic called power creep. So every month you have to pay more if you still want to play.
Well, I think that's called loot boxes. But at any rate, I'm just saying,
skins.
To me, from a purely like financial perspective of a new player, there is nothing that would call out Foundations to me over any other Magic product.
No, similar to the new Shattered Space expansion for Starfield, this is an expansion I will skip. Ha, take that, Bethesda, suck it.
So
but it looks like, you were saying 3 months, and we're going to be staring down the barrel of Innistrad Remastered already, which, I mean,
and tennis,
cool, a reprint set. I love that. Oh, these are great.
Yeah. What do you want me to say? I'm trying not to be too negative.
I think that the whole Death Race set in Q1, this is going to be an interesting thing. I think we're going to see a lot of vehicles, that's definitely a T-ball answer right there. But man, if we can see Jason Statham in like a Death Race car kind of situation again, throwback to the early 2000s, terrible filmmaking right there.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say is, okay. Like, I don't think I've heard anybody going, "Oh, I can't wait till Death Race comes out."
Oh, Fast and Furious crossover. Yeah. Instead of crew,
Right?
it's just family. Yeah. And then
Yeah, I don't even. I've never even watched the movies. I can't get past the first 30 seconds of them before I go, nope.
you just got to shut off your brain. Then they're almost enjoyable.
No, I don't do. I'm not a Michael Bay explosions. Why does my thing keep cutting out? What the hell?
And it looks like we've got 2 sets for Q2 next year. The Ultimate, also known as Tarkir. So it looks like we're going to be doing some dragons and humans again. Be interesting to see if their lore has evolved. You know, if going back to the plane, if they've got their writers just cracking away, making good storylines, or if it's just going to be, here's dragons, here's humans.
Rawr.
Yeah, right. I think it would be an easy set to mess up, and that's the thing.
Well,
And
mean,
all honesty,
the only thing that Tarkir ever that I wasn't around during that block. I was during one of my breaks for sure, and it's not a truly loved set. The only thing I hear about those sets wasn't it the Fetchlands.
Yeah, it was
And that,
great.
like that, it was like the Fetchland era, and it was only Fetchlands, and it's not. It was great gameplay. Not that these cards were awesome, and there's lots of beloved mechanics from that era. It was all about Fetchlands. And that was it.
Standard was in a decent spot during that. I think, if I remember correctly, that's when I stopped. It was like right after Dragons of Tarkir. Because I used to do FNM for a
That's
decent
not a
bit.
rave review. Yeah, it was so good that I stopped playing.
I don't think it was Dragons of Tarkir's fault. I think it was just that time in my life where I was just like, all right, well, I'm kind of just done going to FNM every Friday.
doing a quick card review here on Dragons of Tarkir. It looks like there were more than a fair number of planeswalkers in that set. And I know that Wizards had addressed that the de-sparking of planeswalkers means that we were going to be seeing quite a lot less of them. So it'll be interesting how they handle that going forward in the Tarkir set next year. And shout out Lance, we love the comments. Thank you. Keep them coming. He's saying, honestly, 2024 seems to have been a great year for Magic. Karlov Manor was a rough start, but the rest of the releases seemed really solid so far. And I got to say, all along, you know, it has not been a terrible year. I think Bloomborough was a huge splash. People really liked that. And Duskmourn seems to be, you know, kicking right along. We also had Outlaws this year, which was a very solid set. Yeah, I think we've eaten pretty well. Speaking of eating well, oh man, another Universes Beyond product line. This one is Final Fantasy.
All right, and I'm just going to counter that. 2024 also is the year of Murders of Karlov Manor, Assassin's Creed, and Foundations.
Oh yeah.
Also the year of the banning of Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt.
It definitely put the ass in Assassin's Creed. It was double ass.
Assassin's Creed's doing really good. Why are you poo-pooing on Assassin's Creed? It's actually doing. It's not bad.
No,
it's nothing exciting, but
it's
actually not doing that bad.
Like just the style that they went with. I think.
Oh, it's just sure. Some of them are kind of.
I'm just gonna say, from a community response, I haven't heard anybody saying, "Oh man, I loved it."
It was bad. Well, I have a buddy. I have a buddy that loved it.
I'm gonna say, okay, you're gonna have one or two people, just like those 8-bit cards that came out. We were discussing them for the next Secret Lair.
Yeah,
yeah, those look pretty bad.
I'm definitely in the minority on that show that was like, they don't appeal to me whatsoever.
Yeah,
my buddy hates them. He was like, they completely changed the format of the card. They don't look like Magic cards whatsoever. I'm like, yeah, I knew you'd hate them.
I don't hate them. They just don't appeal to me.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And Fierce
he doesn't mind like
being
full art cards or anything like that, but he hates when you like can't even tell it's a Magic card.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that. I also don't like that.
Stylistically, they've got a lot to play with for Final Fantasy as well. They could do some really old school bordering.
Oh, they have to nail the set.
Like PlayStation 1 themed cards as maybe their showcase, where it's got like the big blue text box down at the bottom. You know, there is a lot they could do with this, and they've got all the room in the world to set themselves up for either success or failure on it. I mean, Bob, do you have any high hopes for the Final Fantasy set? Are you a fan of that IP?
Well enough. It doesn't get me all giggly about it. I have played Final Fantasy in multiple iterations,
You don't
mainly
have a
Final
giant
Fantasy
3D
VII.
printed sword behind you or anything like that?
No. I don't remember any of the characters' names. I really don't know the storylines. I played Final Fantasy 11. Holy grindy MMO. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14, both pre the breaking of the world and afterwards, the Realm Reborn. So I've played it a bit to be familiar enough with it, but it's not something that I love, and I never really loved the art style in it to begin with. It's never been super appealing to me. It's not bad, but it's not super appealing. But
If we take a look
it's
at
more appealing than 8-bit.
Oh yeah, well, if we take a look at what's happened this year, we've had Ravnica Remastered. That was a hit. That was pretty good.
It
We
did
have
well,
Murder
yeah.
Call of Matter. That was a dud. Not great. Fallout was fantastic. Loved it. Outlaws of Thunder Junction, fantastic. Loved it. Modern Horizons 3, also fantastic. Loved it. Assassin's Creed, mid. About just kind of probably less than expected, or actually really expected, but performed probably less than expected on their side. Bloomborough, top notch, loved it, and then Duskmorn, pretty good. Some of the art a little mid, but the cards in the set are really good. So I think this is going to do well. And then Foundations, it's unclear. A bit of a flop, but we'll see.
Oh man, I bet people are gonna be buying Foundations for years, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, at least 5.
Yeah.
I think I'd agree with Rippin' Shots that Rippin' Chips, that
The words are
it's
right there.
well, I'm on a different screen because I'm looking at the sets that just came
I'm
out
just sticking
recently.
with you.
I think it's a pretty good overall set
What up,
Yo.
TCG dude?
or set. Year.
I'm not saying that the set's bad. The thing I complain about is the price point for what it's intended for.
Yeah, we'll see once it comes out because we all know that pre-release prices are always higher than average, and
Sure.
it's gonna feel bad. So, and then also you have to remember that we talked about this last week, where the Amazon sales, they say that they're higher, and they could very well because they have definitely a larger audience, but also those are the same kind of orders that can just be canceled at any time before the set comes out. So a lot of speculation with people hoping to get, if the price goes up, they'll they'll be happy. If they don't, then they'll cancel it before it comes out.
Right.
So there's some of that,
all
but
I
I still
want to
think
say
it's probably
about
higher.
even though those numbers are probably inflated, it's many factors higher. Like I went and chased
it was
down
67 for TCG Player for collector boxes and over 200 for Amazon. So even if you cut it in half, it's still higher.
Well, and did you only do 2 months on TCG Player? Because if you look at other sets, it
I
was
did
like
3, but I don't even think it was available for
in Amazon. They show only like the last month, right? That's it.
Yeah, but
And
Foundation
some of these things
hasn't been
they were
available
showing
for
like
more than a month.
for other products they were showing like 9,000 sales, and I went over and looked on TCG Player, and over 3 months they didn't have more than like 200. So even if they're inflated, it's a vast difference.
Yeah.
So Matt, I've got a question. You're
Sure.
pretty into D&D, right?
Uh-huh.
And from what I've experienced, Magic the Gathering's world takes place in like the same as D&D for all practicality's sake, right? Like it's Forgotten Realms. And from what I get in D&D, when you just keep going up, when you go into space, there's just like nothing there. Not that it's empty like space in the real world. It's like the flagellum and you go somewhere else. So they don't really have like spaceships and stuff.
No, they do. There's something called a Spelljammer. It's basically just a sailboat that can go into space. It's just a magical sailboat,
I think
basically.
what Pat's saying is there's no such space as space in D&D because of the difference of planes and things of that nature.
Well, space would be the closest thing to space in D&D would be the not the abyss. Why am I was literally just there.
I don't know.
He took edibles earlier. That's why he was just there. And the reason I asked, this is
just
going
woke up.
somewhere.
Astral Sea, that's what it is.
Is that it looks like there's going to be a volleyball set that's going to be space themed for Magic the Gathering. And it seems like it's going to be a pretty wild ride to be able to go up into space. I know when we did the crossover stuff with the not unglued, unsanctioned, one of the recent unsets here, and
Unfinity.
Yeah.
they had a lot of space themed stuff. Do you think what are your early conjectures on a full space themed set? Is this going to be an unset? Or are they taking this serious?
I think Warhammer was the closest thing that we had to a space themed set because I mean Warhammer's very spacey.
Well, Unfinity is.
Well, but like I mean like a theme. Like Unfinity's not a theme. That's just a fun product. Like when I
They
think
went
of theme,
hard
I
with
think
it,
of like
though. I mean, all the planets and stuff, which I thought were phenomenal. You know, I understand why Bob was making a chase out of those.
yeah, they're good lands.
But I do want to point out that you also have when we're referring to all the god type sets, the Theros kind of stuff, they refer to constellations, which indicates that they have stars, which means there would be some area that refers to space in Magic the Gathering.
I don't know.
It'd be interesting. So the universe is so it's not a universe versus beyond. So this is actually an like you were saying in
universe,
universe space, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is kind of got
we have
me
reference to that with the constellation lands and the constellation art on some of the gods. You know,
well, sure they have space like that, but like what it is going to look like? Is it going to be like more advanced space age situation where like it's like Star Trek spaceships, or is it going to be like rocket ships type situation?
I would love to see some goblin spaceships, like just a bunch of wood barrels all like plaqued together with the giant rocket on the bottom.
Like vehicles are a good avenue. That like a vehicle could be a spaceship, and then there could be a goblin spaceship that is like really not well put together.
And that's kind of the thing, is that with both the Death Race and space theme, you are kind of limited to vehicles because you're not going to have two people out there hacking and slashing with swords and knives and whatnot, running at each other in space.
Another ship.
You know,
right? Yeah.
It's kind of an odd choice for both of them, in my opinion.
They just need to go Gundam style on it, you know.
There's a new Gundam game coming out. Anybody a Gundam fan?
So I grew up watching a variety of the Gundam anime series, so I definitely enjoy that aspect of it. But it's similar to like Weiss Schwarz, where just because I like the anime that it's based on, the card play doesn't really intrigue me all that much. And as I've said before, I just got way too many games to play as it is. I mean, I just don't have the time to add another.
It doesn't look exciting enough for me to like really care. Like I'm very invested in the Magic as far as mentally. I still enjoy the game. Like we just did Mystery Boosters draft again this past Thursday, so I've done 2 Mystery Booster drafts so far. I can tell you that if you're expecting to get your money back at $120, easily you get your money back. If you're buying them off a TCG player, you have to hit something juicy in order for it to be worth good money.
Yeah, what are they going for now?
They're still $360 right now. It's not. People are crazy. What's crazy about it is I don't even want to open any of the other boxes. I just want to sell them right now. I can get $700 for the 2 boxes that I only paid $120 for. Even if I pay $250, like I'm still making tons of money. The odds of them going up are very unlikely unless they actually truly aren't going to release them ever, which
and they're definitely selling all day. Yikes.
Yeah, we never know. That's the thing. Like this could go to the moon, or this could go down tremendously down to 120, like the other boxes. There could be a Mystery Boosters 2 Convention Edition that is like every card's the same except for a little symbol down at the bottom that changes the playtest like they did the first time. So I don't know. It's very tempting to sell what I have right now.
Would probably be a good thing, in my opinion. That way, you'd be able to enjoy the products that you have, and because you paid a low enough price, you know, there'd be that little bit of remiss where you didn't sell it when it was expensive.
That's what I'm saying. It's tempting to just sell them now. But
and Bob said he wasn't feeling too hot before we started out the show, so he might not end up being with us for the whole evening.
Well, he already left, so I don't know what happened. Was the internet
Well, just
dropped?
saying, for the audience. I don't want them to think that Lance's terrible opinion made him scared and ran away.
I just assume his
Again,
internet
I
dropped
joke.
out, or his computer crashed, or
Oh,
a
right.
hurricane hit his house in the middle of Ohio.
So for Final Fantasy, I can't say as though, I grew up playing Xbox and Nintendo products, so I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan. It's not really doing anything for me, but I definitely see there being an easy speculation on that product. There could be some very rare cards that people are chasing after, so I'm expecting to see a whole lot of that over on Rip and Ship by Moonshot.
I think
You want to chase that.
see, I grew up playing all of the Final Fantasies up until
Oh, hey, thanks, Sherry.
I think I don't even remember when I started yeah, I called it. I don't even remember when I started playing Final Fantasy, but I can tell you that I played all the way up until 10-2. I didn't like 10-2. 10-2 made me angry.
So
Because it
I
just
had an
changed how
emulator
it worked.
way back in
I
the
don't know.
day. So I played the first single disc of Final Fantasy 7, because that was like the big one, right? And it got to the end of disc 1 and you needed to quote insert disc 2, but the emulation software had no way to like skip to the next file. So I just ended up having to stop playing. I felt as though I had enough. I got to see
Yeah.
Tifa's sprite and I was pleased.
One of
And
the best things that I remember growing up was watching Final Fantasy Advent Children.
yeah, that
In my
was
opinion, one of the best anime,
excellent.
well, at least one of the
Yeah,
best like game
CG
anime
film. Yeah.
films. Like very, very. I remember the graphics being very good, but obviously that was like 20 years ago. So
Honestly, they still hold up pretty well. I watch a show called Corridor Crew, and it's a bunch of visual effects artists, and they break down shots from movies. And they've talked about that a number of times. And it was very high quality at the time, groundbreaking. And it still really holds up. High quality CG renders.
yeah, it was great. Good, really,
Starting
really,
with
really
Final
good
Fantasy Mystic Quest on the Super
movie.
Nintendo Entertainment System. Dang, oh, we are getting old, aren't we? Back
I'm
when
trying to
you
think of
like
the. Can you can you do you know the first game you've ever played?
uh I can't say
Oregon
with
Trail?
like a discernible answer, but I would probably guess Zork or like ping pong or something. Like the first game I remember actively like seeking out to be able to play was Zork. It was just a text-based adventure. Um, Back when computers didn't have graphics, at least the ones I had access to. So it was just text the whole time. If you wanted to go north, you typed in north, and then you were in a cave with a goblin holding a sword, and you would say, "Swing my sword." And yeah, yeah. But man, no, I've played so many games, and very early on, my dad was a nerd. You know, he got me into gaming real young, so I, I don't know. Interesting thought, though. Probably more interesting than this wrestling uh secret name for the set wrestling Lorwyn. I don't think we need more elves, so this is probably just going to be a great example of power creep and like broken stuff.
I
I
mean, I
kind of like
grew up watching wrestling. Like it was actually like I don't know. My sister and I we loved it. Well, I don't know if I loved wrestling because of wrestling was entertaining. I liked it maybe because my sister liked it. Because I can tell you that she still likes wrestling. I don't like it at all.
I
So
understand why ladies like wrestling, oiled up buff dudes, like totally understandable for that aspect, but I know some I know a friend that was like a semi-pro wrestler for a little while, and he loved just going out and getting physical. Just the acrobatics of it. Jumping off the ropes, breaking through tables and stuff. I get that if you're participating in it. There's definitely a lot of showmanship to it. I appreciate the acrobatics that these guys are doing. Um, and same thing, growing up, my grandfather loved wrestling, Ukrainian immigrant, and he didn't get a lot out of television. English was like his sixth language. But there's just something about a dude with like a boa jumping off the top rope with his elbow, smashing into a dude that breaks all language barriers. And Hulk Hogan, Randy Macho Man Savage, that was great. Sherry, I love that. WWE was the only soap opera we ever watched. The evolving
I mean, it
story.
really was a soap opera. Let's be real. It was a soap opera for men.
You like fall in love with the characters. They're bigger than life. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, they're very over the top, and everything's
So is
very
that what
eccentric.
we're gonna see for the Lorwyn set? A bunch of like shirtless elves just like jumping off of really high trees onto goblins. I'd love to see a real fisticuff set. Wildness. And it looks like still to be announced as far as dates go. They've also got planned for next year Universes Beyond
Realistically,
Marvel.
this will all change in the next month.
Yeah.
There's a thing that WotC said that they're going to do called WotC Summit, if I remember the article correctly.
Oh, geez.
It's going to be for TCG player, or it's going to be for LGSs and whatnot to go over the upcoming sets and give them more information on like what's to come next. So if I had to take a guess, that's where we would start getting a bunch more information on what these sets mean.
Well, Lance said that they're going to announce it at MagicCon.
Maybe, yeah, Las Vegas as well. I think that's before this event that I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about, Lance. I got no respect for you. What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
You've greatly misconstrued our relationship.
No, I appreciate Lance, and I appreciate his position, and he has a unique view into some facet of Magic, right? It is I don't want to say unique, but pretty close to unique. I only know of 2 channels that are really doing it, him and Twiddler, and he's doing it on a much bigger scale than Twiddler. And with different relationship with an LGS. And so he has a different select group of clientele that he attracts. So Lance has a perspective from a certain audience, right? A certain portion. And so in that portion, he can tell relatively between sets how they're doing based on his audience, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be fairly consistent either with the audience or the type of audience that he's attracting. So I appreciate his input from that perspective, right? It's information, just like with Rudy. Rudy has another different type of perspective on Magic, probably unique, really, by and large, to the world.
Sure. He's got kind of like a little bit echo chamber.
Well, and he looks
a lot
at
of his stuff's influenced by his patrons and YouTube.
So, and he also affects the community, right? He is one of the bigger people. So
absolutely.
His motions affect the community. And Lance is actually getting up there. He's got, I don't remember, but I don't know, like above 20,000 subscribers. If I remember right, it was somewhere, I want to say like 30,000 plus. You'd have to correct me on that, Lance. So it's a healthy community. It's nothing to laugh at. It's funny because we both hit 100 subscribers about the same time. And just so y'all know, we're at about, I don't know, 1,400. We just hit 1,400.
Yeah,
1,400.
We have a very different clientele, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we got a different shtick. We'll admit that. Yeah, a little bit.
He streams way more too, though, and streams on Twitch.
And he sells things to people, and it has the gamblers. It has the gamblers' addiction.
The dopamine hits.
Hell, we bought packs. Pat and I had a pack battle on Lance's show, and I remember it because I got that Jewel Lotus. It was like an epic thing. I enjoyed the shit out of that.
It was fun.
So it is a different. I think a lot of people lose sight of that. They see Magic only from their perspective. I would say that doing this show, doing Magic Online, has forced me to put on a thinking cap of your perspective, Pat. I do try to take that into account, and Matt's and Lance's, and realize that there are many, many different asses for different seats out there, even in the Magic community. You know, there are many different ways that people experience Magic through their own lens. I hope that this show provides some window into multiple vantage points in the Magic community. I think the three of us alone here have very different vantage points in Magic.
Yeah, for sure.
So I respect most people, even the people that are doing it as a hustle, the Joey Mosses of the world, you know.
Oh yeah, I wonder how that guy's doing.
You like talk about somebody that is like almost, you know, single-minded focus on Magic. He's a very competitive, and that's the lens that he looks at Magic through. Well, if it's not competitive, there's no point in it. Like sort of Magic, and he would never.
Well,
he
I
doesn't
think
like
they're trying to bring that back. I believe that was one of the things that Wizards of the Coast said that they were trying to focus more on was the actual competitive atmosphere. I think that would be a great focus for them to have that edge to it, because then it entices people to actually play in some of these formats, knowing that there is a higher tier, and it could monetarily pay off for them. I mean, that's why Flesh and Blood's probably still doing as good as it is.
Sure. You know, speaking about, you know, Lance mentioned that MagicCon is literally right around the corner here. So for those of you that are watching, good luck going there. I do have 2 words of advice. You know, be careful when it comes to like contagion and outbreak. Just going to say that up front. Something you need to be mindful of when you go to those types of events. Us too, when we go to Gen Con or anything like that. The second thing is, for my part, what I learned when I went to M30 with Matt was how much I enjoyed the camaraderie and mingling with the other people that were there far more than the events. Like the events were just, by day one, I already didn't want to go to events that I had already paid for, right? Like they were part of the package that I just didn't. I'm like, it's not about the events when I go there, right?
Hey,
it was
what's up, Time Capsule?
Far more about mingling with the Brodies of the world, like that. Those memories, the I don't know if Dual Brain's still here, but the sweaty ass putt game that we played. Oh my God, was it hot?
Very Vegas, man.
Like 8,000 degrees in that putt room. The walking 8 bazillion death march miles with Matt all over Las Vegas because Matt likes to walk.
I don't know if I like to walk. Let's be honest.
Well, you did it a lot for somebody who doesn't like
honestly,
it.
Honestly, if I were to redo our vacation, I would have used an Uber every place we went.
Well, we couldn't have when they had that protest downtown. That was weird.
No, we still did it. We just had to walk a certain distance to get to
right. There we go, walking again.
Yeah, but like there was times where like I walked when we didn't need to walk. Like when we took the RTA, fuck the RTA. We can just remove that. It was terrible. Good value, but the amount of time and the amount of like effort it was to like find out when the next bus is coming and like schedule everything. It's a lot easier just be like, hey, give me an Uber now. I want one right Uber. Now.
I recommend
that's the only thing I would really change for that vacation. It was everything else was pretty great.
I was very, very pleased. It seemed Matt. I was worried because Matt's one of those people you have to convince to like something. Like you tell him about something, he's like, fuck that. And then after it happens, he's like, yeah, it was pretty good. It's like it's a very strange dynamic. So I was very worried. I got him tickets to the King Arthur Swords and Sorcery dinner show.
Medieval Time.
And he really seemed to be enjoying it when he was there. He was very much in the moment and very much seemed to enjoy it. So that was but again, that goes to like the point that I'm trying to make here. If you're going to these events, I wouldn't focus so much on the event itself, but the people that you're there with. It'd be like going to an amusement park all by yourself. Not a very fun day.
No, probably not.
There's nobody else.
I think the events are a good way to enjoy it if you aren't with anybody.
I would say make friends, meet new people, mingle, socialize.
I can tell you that like if I wasn't with you guys, that's all I would be doing would be events. at like a specifically Magic the Gathering place.
And I feel the exact same way about when we went to Gen Con. You know, it wasn't about the events as much, but the people that we met and interacted with, getting to enjoy being with you guys again, or with Pat for the first time, and you again, Matt. You know, that was eating it, Fuguta Chow, really good food.
What a disappointment that was the first time, and what a great experience it was the last time. Just don't eat
I
the
enjoyed
lamb.
it both times.
Ugh.
Loved it both times. But
I don't know what it is about that piece of lamb that I had was the most disgusting thing I've ever put in my mouth in a very long time.
Well, not everybody likes everything. I hate shrimp.
Sure.
But it was the experience. Even the weird DM with like, okay, how much damage do I take? A lot.
Take just take a lot.
A
lot.
You know, a handful.
Did we kill him? Sure.
Yeah, he seems close to dead.
It was. I mean, come on. That's one of the more unique D&D experiences you had to have ever had.
Oh yeah, it was surely unique.
Say the least. Yeah. Yeah.
So again, but those are the things. Okay, so that was an event, but it's not the event that was all that amazing. It was the weird person DMing it for us that was weird.
The time we had.
It was. We got giggles out of it. All four of us were like, "What the was that?"
Crazy.
So, you know, enjoy your time with people. You know, people are what makes the planet worth living on. So, if you're going to these things, try to set aside enough time to mingle. Give yourself some breathing room to be able to do things outside of events.
Oh, for sure. Pick like one or two events a day that are scheduled that you really want to join, and then you can always fill in events. There's always events that are like popping up, like pop-up events that you can just like join in if you ever want to. So don't ever feel like you like need to, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't ever want to do a 5-hour event again like that day where I think it was with Mark Rosewater, wasn't it? I'm like, oh my God, I just want this to be over.
The Infinity event was pretty good. Although it was long. We were there till like 1 a.m. in the morning.
God, it started like 7 at night. We missed that. That's that Matt Caster. That's the night that he had the get together at the bar. We missed out on with Duelbringers.
The exclusive Mark Rosewater draft that wasn't very exclusive.
I was about to say exclusive with 500 other people.
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely worthwhile to make sure you're measuring your time, not just in the events that you're attending,
right,
but you've also got to make sure that you're, doing the gathering part. It's definitely crucial, and we got to focus on that for Gen Con next year. Hopefully we'll get a good group of folks together, and we'll be able to, kind of be a roving band of, content creators and whatnot.
I don't know how much I'm going to rove, but I'll be there.
We're just gonna get you a Rascal Bob. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna put streamers and shit on handlebars.
I do need to get one of those telescoping seats that people were carrying around with them. Of course, my fat ass will probably break it, but
you just gotta get a good one.
Yeah, it's got to be rated for 300 pounds. So
yeah, just buy a good one,
or at least 250. But that was neat seeing that there. So that was one of the takeaways. I'm like, oh yeah, I need one of them shits. Like, because standing in line, or like when we were there trying to talk to Ruth, dude, there was nothing more I wanted on earth than to just go sit down. And it's unfortunate. Enjoy Alwan and Ruth.
Do the same thing too. Like it's a smart thing, smart idea.
Yeah, they don't take up much space, so that was kind of a good idea. Always, I recommend bringing snacks with you and not like getting them at the grocery store or the Quickie Mart, kind of thing where they're double priced.
As well.
Like just bring stuff, like nuts and drinks and whatnot. Bring them, go to the grocery store, load up on that shit, bring it to wherever your hotel is, and then each day take a little stash with you, because food selections at those places generally really suck and they're super expensive.
Yeah.
So bring some snacks. But for that's for the folks that are going out to MagicCon. I don't even know if anybody here in the sound of my voice is going to MagicCon, but if you do, those are just some things to take notes on and maybe consider. And I wish all of you, good luck and have a good time. We are in the countdown of having Patty make Pat
Woot woot.
show up here in Northeast Ohio, and we're going to do some shenanigans. We don't have it all clearly planned out, but we have some events on the docket, and
I did
I still
start
haven't
working
cleaned
on
my house.
a light itinerary. You know, I don't want to plan out all my fun, but I do
Right.
like having a bit of structure to my trips.
So, look forward to that. We're going to do, I don't know if we've worked out the mechanics of what's going to be live versus what we record and share with you guys. I'm sure we're going to do some live streaming like Matt and I did in Vegas. And I think Matt and Pat, you did a little bit of that in Gen Con. And I think it'll be a little easier here because at those events, getting bandwidth at the events
it was definitely a struggle.
Not great. Yeah. So we're,
at the time,
we're not
my
gonna be
service was terrible.
Yeah.
I've swapped services since then.
So we're going to be, just here, and our streaming service should be fairly good wherever we go because we're not, attending any crowded events. So, look forward to that. We're gonna do some things not standard for the channel for sure, and hopefully you'll enjoy a bit of that. So, look forward to that in the coming next couple of weeks, actually. So,
yeah,
hopefully that'll be a good time. Well, it's actually
I'm
like
excited.
2.5 weeks.
I got vacation planned, so
I took time and vacation off as well. So
we're gonna eat a bunch of food, play a bunch of cards.
We'll see what all we do. Well, I have a sort of surprise.
We're gonna take our shirts off and wrestle. Members only.
Hell yeah!
No, you guys might, and you can dance while you're doing it.
There's no more baby oil left. Diddy took it all.
Yeah, Vaseline. There you go. But no, thank you. I can pass on that one pretty hardcore. Speaking of, getting back to Magic type stuff and opening packs and whatnot, I do still plan on opening if it's on the docket, it's available because we have the boxes. I have the mystery booster too. That a draft might be somewhat boring to watch. That's a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do any of the drafts live. I was going to, but I just decided not to. They haven't really done well on the channel, and it's hard to do vertical. But I mean, I think we should definitely do it. When
we can record it and then edit it and give a bite-sized version of it. So that may not be one of the live events that we do. But again, there's going to be a number of things, and it won't all just be Magic related or eating related. We'll do things and stuff on the channel. But speaking about Magic, how does everybody feel about that 8-bit secret lair coming out that has Fierce Guardianship in it? Like, I'd like to know what the audience feels about it. Are you a fan of 8-bit? Are you happy that Fierce Guardianship is getting reprinted again? It just got reprinted. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a card that can stand a lot of reprints.
Oh, I disagree.
Okay.
It's a very popular card.
It is a very popular card. And many of them are that way until they get reprinted. And the reason I say that is it's only usable in Commander.
Yeah, but Commander's the most important format, so.
Okay. You love it, but you won't buy it. That's an interesting take. Another waste of money. Maybe, Benson. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe. I don't generally sell things. But maybe. We'll see what happens. Wow, there's somebody we haven't seen in a bit. Core, welcome back, buddy.
Dang, what up, dude?
By the way, Dual Brain, are you going to be doing your flea market tomorrow? And am I going to wake up early again and go, shit, it's over in 10 minutes? I didn't even get my coffee before it was over. We'll see what happens, Benson. At any rate, is anybody looking forward to anything between now and the end of the year with Magic?
I mean, I am looking to buy a proxy deck, and I'm going to get it like foiled out. That's about it, Looking forward to that.
What about you, Matt?
Am I looking forward to the year? Magic related or just in general?
Magic.
Well, no, because the only thing left is Foundations, right?
Okay, so the only thing left for you is set releases.
What else would there be? There's not. If there's no new cards, I don't.
Well,
If
the
there's
thing,
no
the
new
magic I'm
product,
looking forward to is cracking the mystery booster 2 with Pat and doing some drafting of some form. I was thinking, is it possible? Is it possible for us to draft, like just empty the whole box between the three of us? What are there? There's 24 packs,
yeah.
and we draft the entire box, but build commander decks with however many
You know, I
cards.
thought about doing that when we drafted with my buddies. You have to also remember, if we do it on a Thursday, we'll have 3 more people that we can actually do a 6-man draft if we really wanted to.
I don't think there'd be enough cards, and I'm not cracking 2 boxes. We'd have to switch. We'd have to switch up to something else like Commander Legends.
Yeah, we can
I'm
do a
not
normal
talking about-
draft, and then we can do a Commander Legends draft.
But I really don't like playing standard. I'd rather, if we do it, just crack the entire box and build whatever shitty commander decks we can from the box. Are there going to be enough legendaries though?
I don't think so. When I played, there was like maybe one every. I don't know, maybe one a pack. I mean, I have the box. I can go look. I can like glance through it real
Well,
quick.
we
I
could
don't think there's
also
gonna be
Alter the
enough.
rules and just have it
We can just
so
alter the rule and say anything could be your commander.
any creature can be your commander. Or anything. Ooh.
Anything can be
I
your
mean,
commander.
there's definitely anything legendary. I think it still has to be legendary. If to me, it breaks it a little bit if it's not. Like a
Why?
planeswalker makes sense. A creature makes sense. Maybe a legendary artifact is okay.
Why would a non-legendary break it?
Because the whole point of Commander is to have a legendary thing and like something that's legendary. I don't know. It just when I say break it, I mean like thematically, not like mechanically.
Yeah, but if there's nothing that you can, if you don't get a legendary creature, then it's kind of like, well, now I have no
Well, I
commander.
said legendary. Anything legendary. There could be legendary artifacts, legendary anything planeswalker. There's even
I worry
legendary
about there
sorcerers.
being enough color like commanders for that.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, because if you're
think
stuck in
there'll
a
be enough
color and you don't have a
color.
commander for that color, and everybody's in like green, or everybody's in black.
Yeah.
One of the problems that we had in the drafts that we did was that like it seemed like people were like stuck to specific colors, and like there was just like white just going around. Like white was like completely wide open. Nobody was in white. Nobody was in black. So like at a certain point, like the packs were like getting very slim pickings because everybody was kind of picking the crap that everybody else wanted. But I mean, that also could just be the play style of our table. So I don't know if that's like
Of course, that he would love to see us do that.
BBD, we had done a Time Spy Remastered draft making commander decks, and you could use any creature as your commander. And I ended up using Llanowar Elves and just made a mono green deck, and it was surprisingly great.
I want to make a Grey Merchant of Asphodel commander deck. I want my commander to be Grey Merchant of Asphodel. It would be so busted.
That's in the set.
I'd be down for this. You know, if we can get enough legendaries, cool. But at the same note, if we can't, well, that's fine. It's the experience of playing together, you know, open up at a box.
And then we get to rip all the packs in one go rather than figuring out the draft portion of it. And just, we get to open the entire box, see the entire box, and, pretty much draft from that at one go. And I think we should set up some recording. I think it would make a terrible live experience, but I think, recording it from a few angles, we each set up our phones and whatnot, and kind of do it from that perspective, and we can have different cuts and make it a more entertaining video for folks to watch. I think it could be an interesting experience.
Live stream the whole thing, and if anybody wants to watch it, let them. But I mean,
I gotta tell you, I'm not really interested in editing that kind of work for a video. The amount of like effort and work that people put in for some of these commander games where they like put up cards that they talk about and do commentary over it. Yeah. I'm like, none of this is necessary. Yeah. Doing like little sidebars and talking about specific things in some ways is okay, but like watching the Command Zone, I can't stand it.
As a creator, that's so much work.
It's a lot of work. They have editors, like a whole team of editors, so it makes sense for them to do more than we do, But
I love that like VH1 pop-up video kind of shit some channels do, where it does your spell table kind of action where it pulls up the card, shows all the text, but then has some like, this card was once used by Brian Kibler to beat some blah, 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 blah. It's like, that's interesting enough. But
yeah.
like you said, the work for it. Holy crap.
Well, I'm talking about when the
24
command
packs.
zone, they're just like, I had a really good start. I played a land, and then I played a mana dork, and I'm feeling pretty good. That's like the whole fucking sidebar. It's like, did we really need that? Can we just play can we just watch the gameplay?
Is
Maybe
it
I'm just
added?
different.
Yeah.
Clearly, people like it because they watch it, but
How many cards per pack are there in Mystery Booster 2?
15.
15?
There's no
Is that-
lands or tokens, which is interesting.
I don't know why they did such weird, like, secret names for this one. Tennis, volleyball, wrestling. Like, yeah,
Well, they always
exactly.
do that. That's nothing new.
That's not new. They always do something
Was it
different like
always?
that.
Like, this seems
It's cryptic
weird.
for a reason. They don't want you to be able to guess what it is. If it's super easy, then it's like
Yeah, but then
spoilers
they
would
go
be like
down and
boring.
show you. It's like, yeah, it's volleyball, but it's also Lorwyn. It's like, well, what the hell?
Well,
like
next year they might pick flowers, right? So it'll be the tulip set and the roses set and
yeah,
the
it'll be tulip, but then followed with a parentheses and say
chrysanthemum.
like, Fifth Dawn. It's like,
Yeah, but they're not keeping those. When they release them, those code names go away.
yeah, no, I get that.
So okay.
Yeah. Good to see you, Benjamin. It's been a while since we had you around. Thanks for coming in. Thank you, everybody, again. We appreciate the comment section here. So keep it lively and keep it above board. We like what's going on there.
And if you want to keep it going, and 24 minutes now, remember we have an after show for members only, channel members, where you get at least an extra 30 minutes. Oftentimes it stretches out to 2 hours. Of content, a little more personal interaction with us, and you get the other benefits of being a channel member. So please consider.
And you get little emojis.
You get emojis.
Yeah, emojis.
Plus, Benjamin, we're talking about their code names for the sets coming out next year.
I noticed that it's getting far more popular out there with people. Pat, I think you were the first one I saw doing it. I don't know where you got the idea, but the TCG shop player, TCG shop
TCG
thing
card
on
shop simulator.
Yeah, I bought it and then I haven't even opened it yet. But whatever.
I told Pat about it because I was on the floor running, but I didn't feel like I was gonna buy it, but then I got like sidetracked. And then Pat's like, I'm gonna buy it, and then he played it, and then everybody else was like, "Whoa, dude, there's a TCG simulator!" It's like you guys are all late to the party. Pat's already beat the game. I actually don't know. Can you beat the game? Is there like can you win?
That you beat it. It's that you like stop having
tired of it.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. And if you think about beating it, as in you don't want to play anymore because you've played enough, I have beaten the game. Have I gotten like the maximum numbers you're able to? No, but all there is for progression is like you have common packs, then you have rare packs, then like legendary packs, and then it shifts to like a different set, and then you buy a bunch of those, and you just like keep that progression going. Buying more products, and it's fun. But
is there ever like a you've beat the game?
Nah,
really, it just goes forever.
Yeah, you can just.
Here's my concern from watching other people playing it and comments in the chat channels. I'm only slightly concerned that some people might, and I'm not talking about the people I watch, but people go, "Oh, I'm so good at this game, I'm actually going to open a TCG store," and I'm like, God, right. I hope this game doesn't encourage people to do that.
I'm also really good at those Hitman games, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna like start.
I'm really good at action RPGs, but I'm not gonna go out into the wild and start slaughtering a bunch of monsters.
Or like if you like you're good at GTA or something, or one of those other Gran Turismos, and then you're
really good at banging hookers and shooting up gangsters.
I am really good at Terraria, but I am never going in a cave. Like only if there's like railings and stairways the whole time.
Have you seen those people that go into these caves and they squeeze their body in between little cracks to try to explore? They're fucking insane. What I just can't understand people's mental. Like, what is wrong with them?
One of my buddies, Marky Mark, does that shit, and he's real skinny too. So he gets himself in some dangerous situations.
Yeah,
he's tried showing me like footage that he recorded, and I have like just slapped the phone out of his hand. Yes,
I don't like it.
Dude,
it is. It's even crazier for the people that do that scuba diving.
Underwater. Yeah. Like cave divers.
Dude, get out of here.
It's
you-
crazy.
No.
Like,
Dude,
I like the idea of exploring unknown, but like that kind of exploration, I'm good, man. I'll use a fucking C4 and open up the way more.
I mean, there are a lot of ways I don't mind dying. Those are not on that list.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
drowning
yeah.
is at least drowning's much better, I guess, than being burned alive.
So I drowned when I was a kid. I actually got like resuscitated and all that stuff. It is
How
not.
was it?
It's honestly not the worst thing in the world. Like,
Just kind of go to sleep.
100% though. So like my foot got stuck on some rocks. We were building like a mound underwater, me and my brother, so that we could like climb up on it under the water and then like jump off. And my foot got stuck. Some of the rocks shifted. Well, my lungs filled up with water. I was like 3 feet away from the surface. So I remember just like seeing the sun in the sky and shit. And it's just really cold because you breathe in water. Duh.
Yeah.
It's like when you drink too much ice water and your stomach hurts. It's like that, but in your lungs. So the worst part of it is when you wake up covered in your own vomit and your brother's like kissing you. Like that's the part that sucks.
Like, why are you kissing me, damn it? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, oh God, that's not how you do CPR.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that the underwater part is more frightening in concept. I don't know how we got off on this tangent from magic cards.
But going cave diving.
Okay. I'm not going cave diving. I'm not doing any of that physical shit anymore.
Mm.
I don't get it.
I think I'm past that point of physicality. I'll go like skydiving or something.
That was fun.
Don't know if I would do that.
Oh, it's super easy.
Fun.
Like all you got to
do
is
tandem. I would not go like solo.
I think
first
it's required.
Boring. Like first 10 times, if you go solo, it pulls your chute the second you jump. So you don't fuck that up. But when you go tandem, you can do free fall, which is what I did down in Homestead, Florida, before Andrew wiped it out. So that was really cool.
Yeah. I think that's in the state of Vermont, it's required you do tandem for like the first 3 or 5 or some shit like that.
I thought it was required.
No, there's different ways that you can jump.
Like Bob was saying, a different style, so that there is no cord that you pull. It's literally like part of the plane. You hook up to the plane, and when you jump out, it triggers the chute to come out.
It's the only time you have to pull is if your chute mucked up and you have to pull your reserve. And then you better hope you do it.
Better hope you were paying attention during the structural video.
It's real easy to. I'll say this because, like, I had the instructions and all that, and I really wanted to get out of that plane at 10,000 feet. Man, that plane was not. It was like sputtering and like felt like it was a piece of shit. And he's like, "Okay, get out on the wing." I'm like, "Okay, let go." Okay,
you got it.
We're tumbling, but I'm like this. With my arms wrapped across my chest, but you can't hear shit. It's really noisy when you're skydiving. And his head was like right here, and I forgot to open up, right? And he's beating on my shoulders, and I'm sitting there like going, "Why is he beating me up? I'm strapped to his chest. I can't even hit back." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And it's because the person chasing us with the camera was in a head dive trying to catch up to us. So to do the recording, I paid for a recording. So it's real easy to lose focus is what I'm saying, because you're just sort of in the moment. It's very disorienting when you first tumble out. And people, they say it looks like you're floating or what. It doesn't feel anything like that. It feels like you are falling at a very, very fast pace. It's like when you jump off a high dive, right? Yeah, that sensation of falling that you have from that before you hit, or off of a bridge, or that sensation of falling, that's exactly what it feels like, but for a really long time, like 36 seconds. So it feels like you're hurtling to the ground. Like there's no floating about it. So it was a very unique experience, but it was very cool. It was one of the better experiences I ever had. Actually, after the chute pulled was the worst part of it, because he pulled the chute really high, like at 4,000 feet or something. And man, that thing jimmies your nuts up into your throat. Because of where very uncomfortable. And it was like so much longer. So the free fall for 6,000 feet took 36 seconds. And the 4,000 feet took like
Just
10 minutes while I got my nuts all jammed up. And I'm like, I just want to get on the ground now, please. So
see, I think that, and number one, got to comment on Benson's there, skydive with no parachute hard mode. I was just looking that up. A couple of people have done this.
survive.
Jump out and like into a net. And I remember watching the Red Bull do like some crazy thing. They were in like a space shuttle or something. That one was pretty wild.
Well, there are people that have gone all the way down, parachutes that no chute open, like their chute didn't deploy and their reserve didn't deploy,
on that shit.
and they survive.
Yeah,
right.
I've heard about that. It's very, very unlikely,
Very rare.
but it's definitely possible.
And I think that would probably be problematic for the rest of your life. Like I'm betting, just playing sports and the minor injuries I've had at my age are, starting to remind me that, I broke that. My toe
if you
did
have
that.
a no open situation all the way to the ground, I think you're not turning down the Rascal scooter when you go to Gen Con.
Yeah. Like I have a feeling that those people probably by the time they get in their 40s or 50s or
aim for the bushes. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think you want to aim for anything that might impale you. And a stick at 124 miles an hour, that's an impaling device.
Yeah, the terminal velocity for humans not like super fast, is it?
124 miles an hour, I want to say. Something like that.
There's also the new roller coaster at Six Flags or Cedar Point or whatever it's called nowadays.
120.
It like takes you up on the hill and then has this little system to where it like takes the cart, it like goes out, it's disconnected from where you're gonna go, and then it drops you and then connects you to the cart, then drops you down. I'm like, why do you need there to be no track connected?
Yeah.
Is there a disconnection? I don't ever want that to happen because if it ever fucks up, it's just dropping you off the fucking ride.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of like travel videos and stuff, and the amount of times I've seen people in like backwoods nowhere, and they're on some hoopity carnival ride and shit goes wild. That could definitely happen at Six Flags. Like,
sure,
get that out of here.
It only takes one time,
Yeah, Dilbrain. To that point, I guess you just aim for the for the ski long jump thing, where it has that really steep track going down and then whee.
A lot of people think that water is like a safe spot if you're like really high up, but water turns into like cement at like a certain number of feet, and it just becomes like this hard. It's not soft at all.
I got a story for that. We used to jump off a bridge over the Ike River in Okinawa, and it's like 74 feet or something from the bottom of the bridge to the water. And of course, my dumbass doesn't know any better. And so I jumped with my arms extended out. Like that's just a natural thing to do, and slightly bend your legs. And when I hit the water, oh man, it felt like somebody whacked my ass with a 2x4, and I was bruised from my armpits all the way out to my wrists. My ass was bruised for a good week and a half. It was not a fun experience, and that's only 70 something feet. I don't think I even got close to terminal velocity.
Oh, dual brain. Water is incompressible. And honestly, Ed, you're incomparable. And that's also why hydraulics do work. Yeah.
Well, since you're 90% water, that I guess that makes you incompressible.
Nah, we're only like 60-something%.
You're only 10% compressible.
And babies are actually a little bit more water, concentration than adults are. That's why they look so bloated. That's like weird baby fat thing.
I look pretty. I'm an adult baby. I'm pretty bloated.
True.
I'm an adult baby too, but that's just because I've recently shit my pants.
I shit my pants last night.
Wow, I don't know what any of this has to do with gaming. I'm sure you all are enthralled with.
You guys ever seen that commercial?
Because of the smell. The people that play, some trading card games and like the feces thing. That's part of TCG Card Shop Simulator. No joke. Is you actually have stinky customers that you have to deal with. We are rounding back. This is going somewhere.
Yeah, look up there's a Walmart commercial. If you ever go on a funny commercial, they're talking about shipping, like they got their stuff shipped to them. They're like, "Hey, I just shipped my pants." Like, "Oh, I shipped my pants last night." It's just a whole like a skit of like them talking about them shipping stuff, but the way they're
Feces,
saying it is
feces.
like there's like an old lady. She's like, "I shipped my pants just now." It's just I don't know. It's a good commercial. Or not Walmart. It's Kmart. I think it's Kmart. Anyways.
Kroger's.
So hopefully everybody's babies are doing well out there. Dual brain, Benson families. You know, that's important. It's funny because this last week or two, a coworker of mine, I got her into Lorcana, and now every Friday, so yesterday, she spends family time with her daughter playing Lorcana. They just got through. They bought the what was that set? The beginner, the introduction set, the gateway set, I think is what they call it, or something. For this last set that came out, there's like a gateway beginner product. Get beginners.
Oh yeah.
And she says, "We finished that." I'm like, I didn't know there was a finish line for it. I didn't know how that works. But cool. And she says they're totally into it. Her daughter's into it. So, you know, I felt like how I used to when I used to get people into Magic. You know, that was very satisfying to get somebody into Lorcana, into a TCG. So, you know, for you folks out there, if you love a game, use sorcery. Who is it? That's who's our sorcery guy? That's
Solar God.
Solar God is Mr. Sorcery on our channel, and you know,
we
get
got
other
some
people
sorcery content coming up in the next month. He's gonna love it.
Oh yeah.
Actually, he's either gonna love it or he's gonna hate if we shit on it. So I guess I don't know. I guess it depends.
You gotta have thick skin, Solar God. They're gonna give you
like.
We will be completely honest. So
yes.
You know. Hopefully,
but that'll be coming up here shortly in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that as well. We have Halloween coming up in the next 2 weeks here. So, you know, get your trick or treating parties and whatnot on. I challenge anybody out there to give magic packs out for Halloween. Buy the value pack. Dude, has anybody ever seen any of those value packs anywhere?
I've been checking at Walmart thinking that it would be there. I will buy them if I see them. I will open them on the channel if I find them. So far, I haven't found them.
I'm saying they're cheaper, right? So you can just hand them out at Halloween.
Yeah, they're like $2, $3, something like that. $3.
I was about to say they're $3. So
I mean, realistically, nowadays, dude, king size fucking candy bars are like $3, so they're about the same price. And I know that some people they actually
go down to the dollar store and get some of those, you know, 5 packs for $5 kind of candy.
Well, yeah, it depends, but I know that there are some places that give away. We used to go to like the bougie neighborhoods when I was younger when we were doing trick or treating because they had the best candy.
Yeah, gentrification.
They give like king size candy bars. Like I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. That's my neighborhood, and I hate it. Like if you go out in my neighborhood during Halloween, no, I'm saying that like people are bringing like bus loads. There's minivans parked all up and down our entire neighborhood on every parking pad. It's like, dude, don't ship in, like, that's not for the entire city, right? It's meant to be for our neighborhood. And it's almost comical when you go out there. Cops are patrolling, you know, there's I'm not even kidding, dude.
You want to make sure all those kids show up at, you know, the end of the night. That's an easy way to lose a child. Everybody's wearing so what they do around my neighborhood, because it's rural as shit. I live in the middle of nowhere, Vermont. We do this thing called trunk or treat, where like people just show up in their cars. And I live across from a church, and like the community we live in loves this church, right? So they actually set up an outdoor popcorn machine, and like last year they played Hocus Pocus on the side of the church because that's just like the community we have, and like everybody just shows up and like hangs out. But it's been cold as balls up here lately. We actually have a snow like coming next week. So
it's usually cold as shit here too. And half the time it's
raining.
Sometimes it's like that. It's 33 degrees and raining. It's like, oh man.
They really need to move Halloween forward. Like it needs to come like 3 weeks early.
I don't think that's how, like, you know, the gateway to the other side works.
What do you like? They should move it earlier so that
we're a civilization that can do whatever the fuck we want. We could just say it's now early.
I totally disagree with you only on the basis of daylight savings time. If we could
Well, we
actually
get rid of that too. Fuck that. I hate that. Get it out of here. Get rid of it.
if we're all moving to Arizona.
Get rid of
There's
daylight savings time. Get rid of time zones. Get rid of all of it. Everybody's
we
just,
need
it's 3 o'clock everywhere. Think how cool that would be. It'd be so nice. You don't have to worry about time zone conversions and
Well,
is
that's
it
how the
daylight
military
savings time
does it.
there? Do they observe it or do they not? There's some people that don't. Just use GMT everywhere.
Well, that's how the
Universal,
military does it.
Yeah, it's
actually
great.
called Zulu time.
Zulu.
Zulu, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's called Zulu
Zoltan.
time. Yeah, and you have to do it because you're coordinating forces around the world and operations across multiple time zones, and if you try to do time zone conversions, it would
I don't know
be
if we
absurd
covered
to try
it.
to do things functionally.
Speaking of coordinating forces all over the world, Pal World's finally getting sued by Nintendo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took them long
this was
enough.
weeks
The
ago.
funny thing is, they're not even suing them about the Pokemon shit. It's the catching Pokemon, taking
because
them
they
out of
can't.
the balls, and then being able to ride them immediately. Like it's the underlying mechanics of playing a Pokemon game that they're suing over. It's not
Yeah,
even
because
that
they
it's
can't.
like a
They can't sue them over that kind of stuff. They can only sue them
I know.
over
That's the wild shit.
specific things.
In America, they can't, but both of them are Japanese companies, and
Japan,
their trademark laws are all sorts of fucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I agree. If I were Nintendo, and normally I'm not like,
I would have
I mean, it's
sent
a
the
corporation,
Yakuza
so kind of
over.
fuck them,
Yeah.
But Power World was one of the most egregious copyright things I've ever seen. It looked like generic Pokemon with guns. I'm sorry, but like that, it needed to get sued.
It was like a really good mod for Arc. That's like
it was a good game. I played it. It was fine. It's just, it was definitely pretty egregious.
Is
like
it
how
falling
like,
apart or
crazy
no? That is a
Right.
very good question, Juggernaut. I don't think we've actually
Oh yeah, right. Now
stated
that
our
we're in the last
opinion. We
3
should
minutes,
probably
we
wrap
should
up the
actually
show with
finish
that. We should probably wrap up the show with that since we're about to wrap up here in the next couple of minutes, and I'll let Matt and Pat go first and get hello, Mrs. Hillbilly. You're just in time for us to wrap up. So Matt, given all of the different things that have happened, and you clearly said it's been a good year for Magic, but there have been some bad things that have happened in turnover rates and et cetera, and you're not buying really a lot of Magic cards and proxying. But in your estimation, is Magic actually falling apart at this point? And if so, or if not, please explain why you think that way.
I think that Magic is the strongest it's ever been. And I believe that because the community has been brought together in hatred or in disgust or in whatever you want to call it to rise up and get rid of the ban list or maybe reserve. Can you imagine if they get this for a reserve list? Anyways, but like, I mean, they did it in such a poor way, which is kind of like a bad thing with all like the hate and the death threats and all that kind of stuff. No, that's never okay. But I think that Magic is the reason I say Magic is strong is because that's how passionate people are. That's not a really good way to show passion, but I still am having the most fun playing Magic. I love Commander. I don't think that's ever gonna die. Commander should probably be around for another 20 years. I mean, I don't really foresee it going anywhere. I don't even know if anybody can make anything better than it. It's pretty damn good. Like, I don't know. It'd be difficult. Maybe Flesh and Blood's PvE if they ever do anything with that. But yeah. What about you, Pat?
I gotta say, I think I'm in just about the same exact boat. Magic the Gathering is going strong. Now we've got some of the largest content creators ever in the atmosphere. The Professor, along with Rudy, are bigger influences reaching a larger audience. There is now a larger selection of crossover products. Universes Beyond seem to be crushing it for a lot of people, and it's garnering a lot of new players. Along with the celebration of D&D 50, I think Wizards of the Coast has recently been doing quite well. The new control over the Commander format, as Matt pointed out, occurred in one of the worst ways, but there is a good chance that we see a new season for the game. This could be great and it could be terrible, but at the same time, we're just going to have to hold on and be smart buyers as we go forward into the next couple of releases.
What about you, Bob?
That's an interesting question. I think I've had to change my perspective on the state of Magic. I think it's dying for the entrenched older players. I think that they are making decisions that are eliminating the people that essentially established Magic and got it to where it became a household name. But what they're doing with it now, with the Universes Beyond and the serialized cards, I think it's an unsustainable trajectory that they're on. Though getting rid of Cynthia Williams, I think, was a potentially a big step because it feels like they've tightened up the print runs, which I think is important. They do have something that aims at collectors with the special freaky versions and the serialized cards to a degree. It's just a different type of collector. I think that they'll always have the gamblers gambling on packs, and they're leaning hard into that sort of nature of people. And we've never been able to decide what a dead game really is. We don't have a consensus on that. And I think that that's a very difficult concept to even try to define. What is a dead game? However, even though I think it's an unsustainable path that they're on, I think that it has a lot of legs to it. I think it's going to be a very long time before Magic goes out of print, even if they head in a bad direction. I think it can survive many years of a downturn.
Well, hey, thank you everybody for joining us. As we've said before, we've got a members only stream that we start up at 8:30, give or take. So if you've got the link and you're able to get in, we'll see you there in just a few minutes. Until next week, I've been Pat.
Thanks for your time, everybody. Always appreciate it.
And then we dance. Bob loves this.
Dance.
It's his favorite. He does this thing.